What is up, everybody? Don't Jolt Me here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to customize your Toa Mata. Today we're going to be talking about things like how to get arms and legs to be more posable, how to have a movable head that can rotate in different directions as you guys can see around, and how to display weapons on the back without them actually being on the hand. Let's start off this tutorial with our happy-go-lucky Toa of Air Leeway. So first off, we're going to talk about limb articulation, the legs and the arms. Originally, when you get these sets, their legs and arms are fixed. They come with axles. Now, these axles can be replaced with pin axles. This is a half pin piece, half axle piece, and what this will do, well, this will allow the legs and arms to rotate freely. If you want the arms to be posable, unfortunately, you have to disconnect the gearbox at top, which is this pin axle right here. Now, no one says you have to do that. You can reattach this as so. Take this pin axle out, plug that back in, and then your Toa can still be the functioning, loving hero that you want them to be. Now let's pull this back out. I personally don't like having the gearbox connected because it just makes it hard to display because there is no friction. But yeah, so making the arms and the legs posable is really easy. Now let's talk about the head. First off, you're going to need one of these connector pieces right here, and I'm going to show you how to build it, but I want to note something real quick. And Golly is going to be our example here. Golly, when you buy her, she already comes with this connector piece here, so she's really easy to make this build with. Other characters, such as Pohatu and Kopaka, do not come with these connector pieces. In fact, Golly is the only one that comes with it in her blue color, her primary color. So the rest of these guys you're going to have to either purchase online, or you can use the black ones on their arms. Nonetheless, let's move all these guys back out the frame real quick. Second off, Golly, well, all the Toa, if you want to have this head articulation, which can rotate up, down, around, in any direction you want, it does not sacrifice the gearbox. Now, the gearbox does have to be modified slightly, but you can still have the posable head without losing the function, which is really important for some people. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our decapitated Tahu, and we're going to take his headpiece and show you how this is built. First things first, with the torso, bend this down. Your original gearbox is going to come with a 6-long axle piece. That will be needed to be replaced with a 3-long axle piece, as you can see here. This allows for it to still work, but it won't have the bushing coming out through the neck. This piece right here, this is not a necessity. This is an aesthetic thing. When you put the head on, it can look a little gappy without this bushing here. Basically, I just have a 2-long wise axle piece and a bushing from the gearbox put there, just so it fills up space. But this right here is not a necessity to this build. Here is the build itself. It consists of 7 pieces. It's very easy, not complicated at all, and I'm going to take a couple of these pieces apart just so you can see what's going on here. I don't have to take it all apart, but you're going to start off with the ball joint connector brick, and you're going to take a ball joint. You're going to stick a 2-length pin axle, or not pin axle, just a normal axle through the bottom here. Now you're going to take a 3-long axle piece, stick it onto the ball joint, and attach a bushing in between. This will, once again, just fill out space. It'll kind of make it fit the rest of the color scheme of the gearbox. Now, what you're going to want is you're going to want to take this connector that connects both on the side and the top. You're going to put that in an upward orientation, and then you're going to grab a pole. Now, your best bet is to grab a pole that is the same length as the 3-length axle piece. This will allow for you to keep as much of the original design as possible. Now all you gotta do is just attach that to the top right there, and put on Tahu's head. There you go. Now, Here's a cool thing. All of the Toa come with this ball joint. Now the ball joint's kind of hard to find otherwise, but all of your Toa come with this, so that's not really a problem. But once again, you're going to have to get these connectors offline, which isn't that big of a deal. And with that being said, let's move on to Pohatu and Onua, because Pohatu and Onua attach their heads differently, as we all know. Let's go Pohatu. Now, thankfully, this build also works for Pohatu. It's slightly different, but the basic gist of it is pretty much the same. You're going to have a connector piece, the same color as their primary color, a ball joint, an axle that attaches to this this double-ended axle connector. Just attach it like that. And then you're going to attach a 2-length axle piece to the back of Pohatu's head instead of the brain piece. Attach it like that, and then just plug it into the torso. What's really cool about this is that we all know that Pohatu's built invertedly from the rest of the Toa, but I feel like this design here on how you attach his head manages to unify him with the other Toa without taking away what makes Pohatu Pohatu. It kind of gives this formality amongst all the Toa, and it allows them all to be able to look around and show expression. Now, Onua, on the other hand, alright, Pohatu. Onua, on the other hand, has the simplest way of having head articulation, but he also has the most limits because of his design. So if we pull off Onua's head, you're going to have an axle pin attached into the torso, and then you're going to take this pinhole axle connector. I don't know the official names of all these, because initially they're all the same part, really. You're going to plug that into there. Then you're going to take that pole piece, you're just going to stick it right there. And that's it. Onua's is really simple. Unfortunately, he can't turn his head back or forward, but because he's a hunchback, he has a little bit more of a characteristic to him. He has a little bit more characteristics to him. When he looks down, you have to tilt the head in this way. And I feel like this adds something to him because he's a hunchback. It kind of just fits him as a character to have to kind of bend his neck around to look around. It kind of gives him this, I don't know. I just think it fits the way Onua is supposed to be as a character, and it keeps his height. It doesn't abstract from his clear shortness compared to the other Toa. Now we are going to talk about weapon storage. This obviously does not apply to Onua or Pohatu because they don't have weapons. Onua's claws are kind of like hands, and Pohatu's weapons are on his feet, so those are out the question. So this only applies for these four. To start off, Tahu and Kopaka have the same exact build for their weapon storage. Gali has the simplest weapon build for her storage, and Liwa has the most inconvenient build, but we'll go to that in a second. So first, we're going to start off with the two alike. This is a very simple build that's very similar to the front. Once again, this does not require to have a primary color connector piece, but you can use it in black if you so wish to. This only consists of 4 pieces, and it looks very good, and my personal opinion, of course. So you're going to have another connector, you're going to have a ball joint, you're going to have a 2x2, or not 2x2, I'm sorry, a 2 lengthwise axle, and then you're going to have a pin axle attached to the ball joint. And that's just going to connect onto the back like this. Now, your weapons for Tahu and Kopaka have these pinholes in them. And although you can connect it at the end, Kopaka's is best displayed, posted on the last pin axle. Now, I was going to use this design for Liwa's, but unfortunately, his pin axle is just so close to the hole. So connecting it the same way as this caused really bad like leveling problems, and it just didn't look very good. But this looks great on Kopaka and Tahu. It kind of gives them I don't know, it kind of builds them out, gives them a little bit of armor on some sides, kind of thickens them out, but it still makes them look like slender robots, unlike the Toa Nuva armor. And, oh, by the way, Kopaka's shield is just kind of attached via a pin axle, or a pin on the side of his leg, so that just goes there. But this is definitely like the easiest way to attach Tahu and Kopaka's weapons. Now, the cool thing about this is that keeps detaching for some reason. After Kopaka and Tahu draw their weapon, you can tack this protrusion away. So if we just tuck this in here, see that? Bends right into the body. And what's cool about this is it kind of gives it kind of like a piston look to it, kind of like how the arms are designed and the legs are designed. It just tucks in just like that, and I think it adds, you know, some texture, it adds some design. It's slightly, you know, weird to look at from this angle, but most of the time you're not looking there, so that's not really a problem. But yeah, that's the weapon design for both Tahu and Kopaka. I'll display this a little bit for you, as you can see how Tahu's fire sword looks. If you want it to stick straight up for some reason, it can't because of the gearbox, unless you want to take that off. That's up to you, but I just thought I'd mention that. Alright, now let's go to Gali. Gali is literally the easiest in the world because her build consists of one piece. It's just one piece. It's a double pin axle. So it's a two length pin on one side, one length axle on the other, and just plug that in right there. And the cool thing about Gali is that hers, although they're asymmetrical, the pinholes are about in the same position. So you can really connect this in any orientation you want. You can connect it like this if you want. This makes it a little thick on the front, but maybe you like it that way. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, well, there goes her gear. But I personally like to attach the hook from the top parts, like so. And then just flip it the other direction. And just plug it in right there, just like that. Let me grab the axle. It fell right in front of the camera, so excuse my hand. Okay. And plug that back in. And the other cool thing about this is that it can be shaped around. They can swivel. So you can kind of have them shadow the legs a little bit, so it makes it, you know, not as obvious. Or you can just bring them together, but you will have like a protrusion at the bottom, which looks a little dingly and weird, but that's, I mean, whatever. Some people care, some people don't. I personally just like the handles behind the legs. It makes it easier to look at for me. But yeah, so that's Gali's hook hook attachments. Now, Liwa's is really unfortunate because he is one of my favorite Toa, and I feel like this design doesn't look super great, but it's really the only option. It's just his axe is so big, and the one pinhole on it is just in such an obscure place that attaching it's really weird. And in fact, it's not even really attached; it's just wedged. So the way you can remove this is just by removing the gear on the back, or the gears on the back. And then you have to reattach them, which makes it kind of tedious to put on and off as well. This build is just a 3 lengthwise pin axle shoved in the back with a gear attached. Unfortunately for this too, this also locks up the gear function. But if his weapon's displayed, then you don't need the gear system anyways because you're not using it. Another thing I would like to note about this is that wedging it can be kind of difficult, just because of how thick everything is. But yeah, it just kind of, I don't know. It's a little hard to get on, but it works. The cool thing about what works for this though is that I don't see Liwa as to be, you know, that quick draws his weapon when in a sticky situation. Tahu is very ambitious and seems like one who would have a quick trigger finger and would pull his sword out on just any unsightly scenario, while Liwa, half the time he might just laugh and walk it off, or he'll just walk the other direction and just not care. So I guess that's a positive thing, is that because of the way Liwa is as a character, he's not going to be drawing this out as much as maybe the other Toa. So having it kind of difficult to pull in and out, it's, it's not really that big of a deal, because more than half of the time it's not even going to be using it. So that's also just one way I see it. If you guys have a better idea to attach this, go ahead and let me know. My other idea was to attach, have an axle going through the bottom part, having a piece stick out, and then have it like go up. But the only problem with that is that the one connection on this would prevent him from being able to, reach around and grab it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't a big fan of doing it any other way than this. And like I said, he doesn't seem like a Toa that, really has his weapon out all the time anyways. So I didn't really think of it to be that big of a deal. Nonetheless, once again, this does not apply for Pohatsu or Nua because they don't really have weapons. But otherwise, that completes this tutorial. This is my way of customizing my Toa Mata. I know a lot of people like to make mocks, and I know articulation is a really big thing with people. Being able to pose the figures really means something to people, and that's great and all, but the way I see it is, I wanted to avoid taking away from the original design, because the designers did such a good job making these figures, at least for me. There's a nostalgia factor for it, and not that any of the mocks are bad or anything. I love all the mocks that I see online. They're really good builds. They're really innovative. But if you're like me and you want to keep the original body, and you want to look like the figure that you bought, while being able to give you the options of posability and fun and whatever, I would say this is the best way to go. If you guys for some reason want to use this build, well, not for some reason, if you guys do want to use this, I don't expect to be credited. I don't want to be discredited. If another person is to ask you where you got these builds from, or these mocks from, or whatever you want to call it, I would appreciate the credit, but you don't have to give it to me. I could really care less. This is Lego, and to me, Lego is about, sharing your ideas and sharing innovation. Nonetheless, that ends this tutorial. I will have a tutorial coming up on how to give articulation to your Matoran and your Taraga. The Matoran one is a really good one, and it keeps the same height as what they originally are, and it allows them to move their feet, their heads, their arms, and it just makes it really, because these are really fun, but these are really fun, but they're really immobile. And then I'm working on new bodies for the Taraga, so that will be coming soon in the future, but this one will be coming out very soon in relation to this video. So there's that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you all there. Peace out.